Welcome back to the High Vibe Life podcast with me, your host, Moira Casaba, and welcome back to part 2 of Alli Arruda. You guys, in episode 1, if you haven't gone back to listen to that yet, please do. We dug into so much gold. It was all things social media, all things personal branding, data, visibility on social media, so many golden nuggets. You don't want to miss it. Part 2, we pivoted a little bit. We talk about our rock bottom moments. Alli shares hers, then she asks about mine. So a lot of this deep conversation that's really behind the curtain of who we are, of entrepreneurship, of success. It is not to be missed. Let's dig in.
I need to know, today it's halfway through Monday as we record this. How are you winning today?
I mean, I can guarantee you one of the things, because I always write it the morning for the day before. One of the biggest things I'm going to write today is you. Like this conversation, this is such a gift. I had an incredible conversation with my friend Amberly Lago a couple hours ago. You know, it's so easy once you start training your brain, because people are like, well, what do I do if I don't have anything I'm winning? I'm like, your brain is literally just not trained to look for it. We're winning every single day, whether it can be we saw a beautiful sunset, we found a parking space. Like the littlest things matter almost more because we start to train the brain towards noticing them. And I'll tell you one of the things of when I remember like this being one of the most powerful processes that changed my life. There was a time, this was probably about 8 years ago, and I made a teeny tiny, smallest, didn't dot the I in my business mistake. I had been in a qualification for a bonus for 6 weeks. And on the last day of the 6 weeks, I didn't dot the I. And I woke up that morning and I didn't get a $50,000 bonus. $50,000.
No.
Yeah. Talk about like one of the worst days. Like there'd been tons of people working to this goal. I was leading them. I felt like I let everyone down. I felt like I failed myself. I failed them. Like I failed my family. I mean, $50,000 is an insane amount of money to come into your family, right? I felt like I failed my husband. That day, I just happened to have a call with another, top leader who I adored. And we got on the call and I remember I had this cup of coffee and I was sitting at the bar at my kitchen counter and I just had this unbelievable heart to heart connection and conversation, and she was there for me and we talked through it. And the next morning when I woke up, I read my vision, which I do every morning. And there was one line in my vision that I had written 3 years before that. And what that line said was, I'm in relationship and I work with other top leaders that I love and admire. And it was that conversation, it was that connection, it was that hour phone call that was like, you know what? That relationship and that person in my life that wasn't there 3 years ago when I had that big dream and that big vision is so much bigger than $50,000. And so I was immediately able to shift out of this horrific loss that was just destroying me to I have all these amazing things in my life. Every single day I'm winning, even if I'm losing simultaneously. And so again, we just have to train the brain to focus on that.
That's so powerful, Moira. And I think that you and I also have in common that we will talk about our rock bottom moments. And I've always said this when I talk, I guess, more publicly about my rock bottom moment a couple of years ago. But that the good thing about rock bottom is that that's the lowest you can go. We really can't go any further than that.
Yeah.
And so there's only one direction that we can go. And that is up, up, out. It's going to be gritty. It's probably not going to be pretty, but man, are you going to learn from that experience, and you're going to build that resiliency. You're going to build different type of muscles, more so the mindset muscle. And I think that is a gift. I would change some of the things if I could, but I can't. So I'm going to take them in the weird packaging of a gift per se, and use that as fuel.
Yeah. I mean, I always say rock bottom will teach you way more than any mountaintop ever will.
Oh, I love that.
A 1,000-fold, right? outside looking in, it's really easy to see. So I had this experience with my brother not that long ago. He was going through some really tough things in his family, and it was like every day we were on the phone for months on end. And he called me one day and he's like, we're done. Like we can't do this anymore. And it was like all of a sudden he was taking extreme action in a different direction. And I was like so happy because it was his rock bottom day. But I knew what was going to come out of rock bottom. You know, rock bottom forces your hand. Rock bottom makes you do things to the extreme, take radical action, change the direction of your life. And I just remember outside looking in, I was like, this feels really weird because I'm so happy, but this is rock bottom for him. But I get what's going to happen because it's rock bottom. He's finally going to stop the downward spiral and make this shift. And again, outside looking in, it's so easy. Can I ask you, Alli, will you share what that rock bottom was for you?
Yeah, it was smack in the middle of the pandemic years. And as a brick and mortar gym owner in Canada, in Ontario, we got hit really hard. And not that that was the moment, but this is just like setting the scene, if you will. Yeah. And my husband and I were still new to entrepreneurship. Like we bought a brick and mortar space only to close it. It was like 6 months after. And you kind of like obviously have no roadmap as an entrepreneur, let alone at that time. And so trying to figure that out. But then in the midst of that, my dad passed away unexpectedly. And we were really close. And I'd already gone through like a pretty deep and extensive grief journey for someone at the time. I was like mid-30s. I lost my brother at the age of 18, all my grandparents, an aunt. So I had like a good amount of loss that I had dealt with for someone of my age. And then to lose my dad in the middle of these like really brutal times was just like soul crushing. And that was the first time I really also experienced like extreme heartbreak and heartache. Like no boy has ever given that to me, and that's totally fine. But losing my dad was just like cracked my heart right open. And I was like a shell of a human for a couple of weeks, and then realized like, Alli, you only have one direction to go. And I could sit back here in the backyard and not talk to anyone, or I can use this as fuel and make him really damn proud of me and do really cool things. So between losing my brother at the age of 18, who's my greatest fitness inspiration because he took his life after dealing with bipolar disorder for a couple of years, and fitness was his chosen medicine. So I have that as my fuel for being strong and fit and healthy. And then after losing my dad, I was like, I'm just destined to do great things in this world. And I only have one time here, so I'm going to make it fucking great. Sorry for the swearing.
I love it. Sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah, it's passionate swearing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And I mean, this honestly, just for our listeners, this call gets crazier and crazier because my side of the audience is like freaking out right now because I lost my sister. And I lost my mom last year, and I've lost the grandparents and like all of this. So, I mean, our stories are crazy similar, like so much more than we thought, just kind of outside looking in at each other's profiles. We're like, oh, it looks like we have so much in common. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I just love that you were able to take that. And I mean, that's my desire for people, right? It's like, I want to know people's stories, but I want them to triumph. I want them to take the hard and use it for good and use it for the rebuild and the rise and the reinvention and the reason you're going to do what you're going to do in the world instead of the reason you're held back from what you're supposed to do in the world.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I love that that's something that I picked up from your content too, for again, kind of what you just said, that we sort of know each other, but like not really. We need to drop in and spend some quality girl time together to really get to know each other. But I know that you speak openly and passionately, and from a Uno reverse moment for my audience to understand, if you would be open to sharing what your rock bottom moment was to create the resilience and strength that we as outsiders see today.
Yeah. Gosh, we're just dishing it all out today. So Going back kind of like you said, the pre-landscape. So I was like born an Enneagram 3 achiever, right? So I was, really good at sports, really good in school, really good in whatever I did. And that might sound egotistical, but I'm just saying like that's who I was as a child.
Same.
I was an achiever. And my parents didn't put any pressure on me, but I see this with my own child today who's 16. I'm like, it's really fun to be really good at everything. And you want to keep that up, right? Like the world just celebrates you in every capacity. And so as I started to get into my high school years, the pressure started to increase, right? Academically, sports, socially, all of those things. And so I have addiction in my family. It was kind of removed from me. So I just kind of grew up with my mom always being like, hey, be careful. We have alcoholism in our family. Your uncle or your grandfather, nobody that I knew in my everyday life. So I was kind of like, whatever, like everybody's partying. I'm going to jump right in. And so when I started drinking in high school, the only way that I can describe it is it was like a pressure valve that got pushed for the first time in my entire life where I was able to breathe and stop performing and just let go. And it's so insane to think that at 14 years old, how quickly I fell into extreme alcohol addiction. It wasn't even, some crazy drug or anything like that. It was just alcohol. And by the time I was a senior in high school, I had thrown away like all my academic, stuff, all of my D1 sports dreams, and of course rationalized it because as an addict and an alcoholic, you're the best liar in the world, but especially to yourself. So you think, well, I don't want to pursue that. It's not my dream anymore. And by the time I was 21, talk about a rock bottom, like rock bottom as rock bottom gets. I wanted to end my life. I was drinking every single day around the clock. I was either passed out cold or the second I would wake up, I would start drinking in order to function at 21. And I couldn't stop. And, I didn't want to, I just kept feeling like, I always say I really understand suicide, unfortunately, because my desire to end my life came from this place of like, I cannot continue to put my family through this living hell of who I have become. And I couldn't find a way out. And so I felt like the easier way for them would be to just end it. And, by the grace of God, I ended up getting sober at 21. And, there was a moment, and I go into this sometimes in keynotes that I give because I talk a lot about listening to the whisper. As business driven as I am and as data driven and entrepreneurial as I am, I'm also very spiritual. I think you get spiritual when you hit rock bottom.
Yep.
There was a whisper in that moment that I wanted to end my life that just said, you're meant for more. You're meant for bigger things. This isn't your life. This isn't the end. And just like you said, Alli, it was like, I had tried to get sober, so I didn't know how this was going to be any different. But, I think that's something that is ingrained in us, is that resiliency and that grit that you just get back up again and you try again and you get back up again and you try again and you get back up again and you try it again. And so I just tried again. And, here's the crazy thing that I have always said is I think so much of my success in business came from what I did when I got sober. I went to the 12 steps, but I sought out people that were sober on the road ahead of me, the people that had what I wanted, the people I wanted to learn from, the people I got in the rooms with them, literally. I asked them 1,000 questions. They became sponsors. They became friends. They became mentors. I lockstep did what they told me to do because I didn't know how to live sober. Right? And it's no different that when I got into entrepreneurship, it was like, let me find the people that are succeeding, that I have no idea what I'm doing. And they're going to teach me, they're going to guide me. But the difference is I am going to do every single thing that you're advising me to do. I'm not going to pick and choose and do what's comfortable. If I want this, and there was no option for me in sobriety, right? It was, you're either going to get sober or you're going to end your life. I was like, I just kind of gave over my thinking to them, right? It's like we say in recovery all the time, like my best thinking landed me at rock bottom. So like my thinking's not so good,
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you were to hit bankruptcy in business, like your best thinking got you to bankruptcy. Let's let somebody else lead you. And so I learned to learn from other people, to do every single thing that successful people were telling me to do, to copycat their methods. And that led me to this beautiful life and this beautiful, road of sobriety. And so when I got into entrepreneurship, and again, now remember, I was an solo entrepreneur for 17 years, fumbling my way through, feeling very alone, trying to figure it out. And when you said in the beginning of this episode, like, what is the difference between getting into masterminds, getting with coaches, getting in the room? It's night and day. I would have never survived at 21 if I hadn't gotten in the rooms with people that had figured it out, right? I would have died. And so when I finally got into the rooms in business with the people that could show me the way, I remember being like, this is literally like I'm doing the same thing I did when I got sober so many years ago. And so it's very, very it's like a mirror to me when I think about my sobriety and my success in business and how I did both of those things. I mean, granted, I don't even want to say how I did it because I think there's something so much bigger than me throughout all of it. And I'll touch on that really quick too. I don't know why this is coming through, right? It just comes through and I feel like this is meant to be shared. I have a lot of faith, right? It is a huge part of my life, but I work with so many faith-driven people that don't have belief in themselves.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I always challenge them. And I say, you devoutly believe in a creator, a God, a universe that created you, but you don't believe in yourself. And I often say, people hide behind the mask of, oh, I'm not confident enough, or I'm insecure. And I often say, that's not an insecurity problem. That's actually a faith problem. Because so much of why I've been able to do what I've been able to do is because I believe I'm called to it, right? It's not just me leading me to the dream. It's something bigger and so much more outside of myself that I am always willing to sacrifice my own insecurity, my own uncomfortability to help someone else. And there was so much of that in the beginning, so much fear. What are people going to say about me on social media? How are they going to receive this? And I constantly had to say, it is not about me. And I have to learn to care more about other people than I do my own ego. And I got to get out of the way and do the mission. Right?
I love that. That is so powerful. And I mean, I just want to honor what you shared. First of all, thank you for sharing all of that. Yeah. And I really celebrate you for also seeing the beautiful alignment between a really big part of your life and a really powerful part of what makes you, like the experience that you then chose. So you can go one of two ways, and you chose the harder path. You chose to take the action, put in the work, and now create this big, beautiful life for yourself and this road ahead. Yeah. But how special is it to see the alignment that it has with the road of entrepreneurship, of taking the action, choosing the hard path? I mean, let it be known, if people listening don't already know, entrepreneurship is the harder path that we all choose, with more road bumps and everything. But that you've chosen to do that twice with your sobriety journey, but that it is also beautifully in alignment to pave the way for the road that you've created with entrepreneurship, but pulling others out of the trenches and showing them the way.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's all what we make of it, right, Alli? Because you've had the same experience. Like, do we want to let the hard define us and stop us? Because you and I both know that most people's story is keeping them stuck. And we decided to let our story be our fuel instead. That's the shift, right?
Yes. I think that's like one of the most powerful takeaways from this entire episode, that if you have not heard that loud and clear, but using your story as fuel. I love what Moira just said. Like, woo, goosebumps. It is like using your story and using it on repeat too. And again, kind of going back to the content piece and the social of how can you weave your story in to your content? Yes, but how you are being of service to the people that you want to help and the people that you want to impact.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, so good, so good. I just looked at the clock. We have been here for a while. Oh my gosh. I think we could stay for 3 more hours. Like I could.
It's in like an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
We might need to do like part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alli, tell me this. What do you have like offering wise for people listening that are like, I just need to connect more with her? What do you have offering wise now, and how can people find you?
best place to find me is on Instagram at Alli Arruda, or you can check out my podcast, Inspire and Move with Alli Arruda. But Instagram is where I hang out the most, and you can work with me one-on-one, whether you are in the Ontario area or you live in the US. We can hang out on Zoom, but I'd love to be able to coach you and celebrate you and support you. I'm a big lover of consistency, so that comes through a lot with my coaching work, as well as the Mentor Collective Mastermind. It is Chris and Lori Harder's program, but my husband and I are coaches in there, and that's the second most frequent place that I hang out is online in there. And I would just love to connect with you all. And same thing, Uno Reverse, Moira, where can everyone find you and how can they work with you?
Yeah, I love all of that. And I love Chris and Lori. I mean, they're amazing. Same thing, Instagram at moiracasaba.com. Websites, everything's linked right there so you can find me easily. And yeah, all the ways I mentor women, coaching them exclusively in small pods and one-on-one. You can, if you're interested in the health and wellness side of things, we'll link all that in the show notes for both of our shows, so you can find me anywhere. But I'm in my DMs. Like I said earlier, I don't have a team answering my DMs. So just shoot me a message on Instagram. You can ask me anything. I'm an open book. I am here to serve, and really looking forward to connect with any of you.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that anyone can send Moira or myself a voice note on Instagram, and you will get a voice note back.
Absolutely.
Challenge for everyone listening.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, Alli, thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful conversation. It is, hands down, going to be the first thing going in my journal tomorrow for my win. It has just filled my absolute soul. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Moira. This was a beautiful conversation. I know we kind of went everywhere, and I'm grateful for that. I think that's a sign of a really great connection and conversation, that we can go deep, we can go tactical, and know that there's also so much room for more.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You guys, my people, go follow Alli's show. Alli people, come my way. Share this episode with a friend, guys, and we will see you on our next show. Thanks so much for joining.
Bye, everyone.